Hi everyone, I bought this Yoto Mini 1 year ago, December 2023, and in 1 year it's had 2 recalls. The first recall was on this cable. The first cable they asked me to cut up and they sent me that other cable that apparently doesn't burn up the battery. And now the battery is recalled. Interesting. And so if you Google Yoto Mini Battery recall and insert your serial number, they'll send you a new battery to reinstall for your Yoto Mini. Here's the QR code for their video. My video is going to be better, just FYI. So they sent me all of the parts and pieces, which was appreciated. And the first step is to take this blue pry tool and remove the rubber pads on the bottom of your Yoto Mini. Underneath the rubber pads is 2 little mini screws that you need to unscrew, and it's actually pretty simple. Here are those 2 screws. So let's unscrew those now. Okay, once those screws are out, you can take this blue pry bar tool and put it in the seam in between the 2 body panels. And I wasn't strong enough to use my fingers there, so I put the blue tool there and turned it sideways, and it popped open pretty easily. Now this part feels like you're gonna break it, but it doesn't. It just clicks in there. And it feels like it's gonna break, but it doesn't. You just slide it out and trust the process. Okay, here's the old battery in that white paper there with the QR code. There's 2 more screws to take the battery off of the chips set. And once you do get the screws out, you can turn it upside down and get the screws out, but they do give you extra screws if you do lose them, which is nice. So again, get those 2 screws out, and then there's 2 wires that you need to disconnect. I found it best to just take your finger and pry it out like this. This is how the board looks, kind of interesting to look at, but that's the old battery. I'm going to take the new battery, which looks a little different, same connectors, and slide them back in. I found it best to just kind of get it started, and then I used the blue pry bar tool to push the plastic up even more. Okay, both wires are reconnected, and you can see that one of the wires does need to wrap around the outside of that battery housing that Yoto sent you, and then you just line up this screw holes to where they originally were. The wires should line up once you plug them in pretty well. It's pretty intuitive, and then reinstall the screws. The 2 long screws go here. You don't need to yank the screws down super tight or torque them down to spec. Just get them nice and tight. But I reversed the steps. I clicked it back together, put the 2 mini screws in, and then they give you 2 new rubber pads for the bottom. Let's test it out and see if it works. And it started right up. And actually the battery was completely charged. So here's the old battery. I'm going to recycle that at my local battery recycle place, which is actually the dump for me. They have a battery recycling place at the dump. So I would recommend checking your local dumping regulations and see where you can take batteries. Don't just throw them away or just throw them in your backyard. But everything's working as expected with this new battery and the replacement charger that they sent me. Check out my full review on this Yoto Mini. My son did like it for about 6 months. Now he says that he's kind of bored.